Hello and good morning. Today I'm going to show you how to read crochet patterns. I'm going to give you a few hints and tips about how to read them, how to choose a yarn, a crochet hook, and how to get gauge or how to read the exact description of the pattern. Crochet patterns are not made by certain strict rules, so they will vary in the elements that they have, but most of the elements that they do have, they are pretty consistent. So I'm just going to show you, and hopefully this will help you read patterns more confident. This is a free pattern, the baby kimono wrap. I made it twice, once for my own daughter and once as a gift. It's a really nice beginner's pattern. Where do you have to look for? First of all, read it through completely. This is a pattern. It consists of 3 pages, and it's really important to just sit down, read it, and make a list of what you need. Then you will look at the introduction, or the list, the general information list. In the introduction, most of the times gauge is given, and gauge can be very important if you want to make fitted crochet items such as hats or mittens or cardigans, you name it. If it has to fit, gauge is very important. Here we have 14 half double crochet per centimeter. But this is a very nice pattern that does not have to be exact. So if you do not get gauge, it's not that bad. Really important information. The second thing you have to look at is, what do I need? Now, the kimono wrap was made using a 4.5mm US 7 and a 4mm hook 6. Yarn, Vibra Iris, which is a DK weight. Always check what kind of weight the yarn is. The thicker the yarn, the bulkier. But if you choose a thinner yarn, your project will be quite smaller. So be careful choosing yarn. And a small amount of orange yarn of the edging for the ties. Make sure you have all these things, and if you want to get gauge, you really have to make a small swatch. Now, here we have the finished size. Read it through. 6 months, 12 months and 18 months are the sizes given in the pattern. They were given in the same way as here, so the first amount of stitches will be not in parentheses, but the second and third size will be given between parentheses. Make sure you have a highlighter or something if you want to make a size that is between the parentheses, and highlight it throughout the pattern. That will be easier to to follow the instructions. Yes. Then we have the swatch. Isn't really necessary for this pattern, but if you have to, please do so. Make a tiny swatch of 4 by 4 inches or 10 by 10 centimeters. Fasten off, wash it, and lay it down to dry, and measure how many stitches you have in 10 centimeters or 4 inches. If your swatch is too big, go down a size. If your swatch is too small, go up a size. This is the general rule of thumb for swatching. Now, there are also certain notes. What is a half double crochet increase? This is 3 half double crochet in 1 stitch, not 2, but 3. And half double crochet decrease is done as follows: 1 half double crochet over the next 2 stitches, and then there's a description of how to make the stitch. Very important information to know before you start. Then we have the pattern. English patterns are very thorough, and I'm glad with that. But you have to sit down, read it, and please do not be turned off by the amount of text. Really, English patterns are more thorough than Dutch patterns. Excuse me while I say this, but they are great, really, they are. Start with the wrap. This is a half double crochet foundation row. If you do not know how to make it, please look it up, and that is also why you have to read it through completely before you start. Here we have the sizes. This is for the 6-month size, 12-month and 18-month size. So pick a size and crochet that amount of half double crochets. And here, if you do not want to get gauge, or you have a different type of yarn or a different type of hook, you just have to follow one of these measurements. Check it always. Then you're going to do exactly what it says. Please do not be frightened by the amount. My biggest mistake was trying to figure out what it said. I was completely, I always thought there was a certain meaning behind a certain instruction, but there isn't. Just do as it says, literally. That will really help how to crochet according to a pattern. So exactly do this, and then you will come to a certain amount of stitches. Most of the times it will be behind the sentence in parentheses, and just check. Do this and then check the amount of stitches that is given behind the parentheses. Now just follow the pattern. I'm going to check if I have another example of a good sentence. Well, here we are. It's another free pattern, the Klamath shawl. I've written it down. You can see there were several sizes I highlighted which I wanted to make, and as you can see, here we have row 1, certain instruction, total amount of stitches you're going to have at the end of a row. Instructions, total amount. Instructions, total amount. Patterns are not sometimes not easy to follow, but there are basic rules. Just make sure you have the right yarn, the right hook, the right gauge, and double check while making the project by following the instructions, and just check the amount of stitches at the end of all the instructions, and then it will all go well. I hope this will make sense. I'm going to see you next time. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask. You can leave them here in the comments, or you can go to my Facebook page, Zomaar een dag, and just pop the question. See you next time.